Hello my friends, Paul here in the RoJoBe Music Workshop, and welcome to part 2 of the electric baritone ukulele project. So in the first video I was preparing the neck for staining and oiling. So I've given it a good sanding all over. It really is as smooth as glass. But in the first video I started to talk about that I was looking at some of the hardware for this instrument, and I'd forgotten to continue with that bit of information. So first of all, I have tried test fitting the ferrules which go in the front of the headstock here, and they're a really tight fit, and I may even need to drill the holes out a little bit more, but what I am going to do, which will help a lot, is just to chamfer the outside edge of these holes. So basically just open them up a bit on the edge. Now to do that, I need one of these, which is a tapered, I can't remember what they're called anyway. So it basically tapers a hole, and it's, can you see that? It's 6-bladed. So, and you can see that the blades kind of spiral as well. So the reason for these having 6 blades on them is to minimize chip out when you're, tapering the edge of holes. It does minimize the chip out, but there is still a risk when you're using these to take out a big gouge of wood, which is the last thing you want. So I'm going to use my cordless. So one little tip to minimize the chip out even more, or to completely reduce the risk, is flip your drill in reverse. Okay, so let me see if I can angle you down a bit to see what I'm doing. Bear with me 1 second. How's that going to work? Will that work? Not so much. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately I can't see too well what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got my tapered bit in there with the drill in reverse, and I'm just going to taper these holes a bit. Really doesn't need very much. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. It's not going to focus. Before, it's quite a very sharp edge, and then you really can't see that, can you? So there's a little bit of a taper now on that hole. That should be enough. It's only a very small amount. You can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so by putting that in reverse, there was absolutely no chip out whatsoever, and all of those holes are now chamfered. They have a tapered edge on them. So let me just try now to test fit the ferrule again. Okay, so that makes them much easier to start. It does still seem very tight. But I'm not going to drill the holes out now. I'll wait until I actually come to fitting them, and if I find that they're a bit too tight, then I will just bore those holes out a little bit bigger, just a fraction. Okay, so that's that. Now the other thing was, let me just put this tripod back as it was. When I was looking at the tuners the other day, light's not very good here. I found that we had 5 tuners. They'd sent me a spare. Now, when I was looking at them a bit closer, I noticed that one of them has a full hole, if you like, on one end, and the other side, it's kind of a semi-hole. So what you do is they fit together like that. Okay, so then you end up with a full hole. So they actually fit together side by side like that. So you see that's an end one, that's a middle one, that's also a middle one, and I've got a spare middle one. So I've got the middle ones 3 and the end one 1, and the other end, can you see that? They're a different colour. So all 4 of them are kind of a silvery colour, and this odd one is, you can't really see that too well, but it's kind of more of a goldy colour. It's not much different, but it is noticeable. There's not much I can do about that, because that's the only one I have of those. If they'd sent me a spare one of those, then so it's just one thing after another. But it's not a big deal, really. So when I put them all in, how well are you going to see that? So you see they line up side by side like that. Yeah, this is a bit awkward. 1 second, let me just try and line them up. Yeah, I can't. I can't hold them all at the same time. So they fit together really nicely, and then you put the screw between those with this one on the end here and that one on the end there. I can't really show you what's going on there, but you get the idea. So they fit together side by side like that to create the screw hole. I think that's really nice, and I have tested them off camera, and they seem to fit together perfectly, which is good. The only problem, as I said, is silver, 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 kind of gold. And as I said, the spare one is silver, but it's one of the middle ones. Bit of a shame, but there you go. It's not a big deal. I'm not too bothered about that. Okay, so how are we doing for time? Woo, let's crack on. So the next stage now is to apply the first coat of wood stain. Now, I'm not sure at this stage if I'm going to do 1 or 2 coats. When I did this test piece, which incidentally is dried really nicely, and there doesn't seem to be any reaction at all, beautiful finish, I think it's a bit too dark. So I'm going to apply 1 coat and let that thoroughly dry and see what it looks like. I may end up only putting 1 coat on. I'm not sure yet, because to me that just looks a little bit too dark, but it is hard to tell until I've actually got it on the neck itself. So I'm just going to pause the video while I give this stain a bit of a stir and get the cloth ready to apply the first coat. So I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so I've got the stain stirred, and I've got a brand new, fresh, clean cloth for applying the stain. So here we go. Unfortunately, my camera doesn't have like a wide-angle lens or anything, so I'm going to try my best to show you what I'm doing. And on the back of the neck, I've drawn a faint pencil line here where it meets the body, so I have to put the stain right up to there, not on this part, don't need it on there, but up to there. So where should I start? Here, or down here? I'm going to start down here first. Okay, so I get a little bit of the stain on the cloth, keeping an eye on the time. And here we go. very careful not to get it onto the fretboard if I can help it. Don't want it staying on the fretboard. Yeah, it's looking quite good. Oh, just got some on the fretboard. Okay, a bit more on the cloth. Go up to my pencil line there. Try to get an even coat. It's sometimes a bit tricky with the cloth. Got a bit thick there, see if I can wipe a bit off. That's looking quite good. Quite good. Okay, headstock. It's going on quite as evenly as I would have liked, but not too bad. I'm going to have to do it on the bench. It's easier for me. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but it's a lot easier for me to do it that way. Okay, front of the headstock now. Okay, it's looking all right. Bit patchy, but I can probably rectify that with the sanding. And also, I kind of prefer like a rough look than a factory look. So if it's not perfect, it will be perfect. Okay. Yeah, not sure how well you can see that, and it does look pretty patchy at the moment, but I'm rather liking that. So what I'll do is I'll just take a clean part of the cloth and try to even it out a bit. I mean, it's already touch dry. There we go. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a few minutes and then give it a light sanding and see how we're looking from there. But first inspection, I think I might be happy with how dark it is, but obviously when I sand it, it's going to go a little bit lighter again, so we'll see what it's like after that and decide then if I'm going to apply a second coat. I probably will, not too sure yet, but for for the first coat, yeah, I'm really happy with that. I said it's quite hard for you to see really what it looks like on the camera, and it does actually look more patchy on camera than it does in real life. The camera really picks it out, but yeah, when you look at the whole thing, it actually looks pretty good. Got a bit of the stain on the wood, on the fretboard, so I'm just trying to get rid of that. Okay, good. So I'm going to leave that a few minutes to dry before I sand it. So I'll pause the video here and I'll bring you back when I'm ready to apply the second coat. You're not going to want to watch me sanding, so when I'm ready to apply the second coat, I will bring you back. Okay, so I did go ahead and apply the second coat of wood stain off camera, basically because I just wanted to concentrate on what I was doing and get a nice even coat. So this is what it looks like now with 2 coats of wood stain. Looking good. Okay, so it's had 2 coats of wood stain and I've lightly sanded it after each coat. So now it's time to apply the boiled linseed oil. So I'm going to apply this all over the neck, including this part and including the fretboard. I did before just lightly dress the ends of the frets. They're a little bit sharp on the edges, so I just polished those out a bit. But as for the frets themselves, they're perfectly fine. We don't need any fret leveling. There is a very, very slight back bow on the neck, but once it's strung up and up to tension, that will pull that straight. Because I did have a look at the truss rod that's in there, and it's completely useless. There's no way of getting any kind of adjustment on there. It looks as though it's been sawn off. I don't even know why it's in there. Anyway, so there is a truss rod in it, but it's doing absolutely nothing. So I've just noticed there's a little bit of wood stain on the fretboard itself, so I'm just going to lightly sand that off before I apply the boiled linseed oil. Really want wood stain on the fretboard. Just a couple of little smears, nothing major. So I'm just using my 1500 grit sandpaper just to peel that off. So as I've said, the next stage of this build will be the body of the instrument, which, as I keep saying, is it's going to be interesting. Like I said, it's not something I've done before, and many of you, I'm sure, will have seen the process before, but not done by me. Okay, so first coat of boiled linseed oil. That's what this has been used for before, so we're all good. Okay, so here we go, boiled linseed oil, on it goes. Try not to spill it all over my bench. So a liberal coating all over. So this is always, for me, a very satisfying part of any project. Normally it means almost the end of the project, but this is barely the beginning for this one. Okay, so it's now got a good coat of boiled linseed oil all over it, and take a clean part of the cloth and wipe off the excess. Looking pretty good. think so the fretboard is quite dry, so almost certainly going to apply another coat of the boiled linseed oil. I don't think it helped that you know, when this arrived, the fretboard was still covered in masking tape. Now, in some ways, that will have, you know, protected it somewhat on its long journey here, but in all, by the same token, it's dried the fretboard out a bit. But that's okay, because this boiled linseed oil will completely reverse that. Okay, looking pretty good. So there's the fretboard, all nicely oiled up. Looks beautiful now. It's a nice bit of wood, that. And the neck itself, so you can see it does have a sheen to it, but it's a satin finish, very smooth. The problem I find personally with the gloss finish, especially if you're a bit of a sweater, as I am, it can get a bit sticky. So I personally prefer a matte or satin finish to a neck. It's just, I don't know, for me it's just a bit smoother. But that's looking really good. Really happy with that. Okay, so the neck itself won't need another coat of linseed oil, that's fine, but the fretboard will need another coat. So I'll just let it dry a bit more, and then apply a second coat of wood stain on this cloth. Again, I'm going to get a new cloth. Get a beautiful pink one, how about that? That one seems to have a bit of wood stain on it, so not ideal. That's better. So yeah, as I said, the fretboard will get another coat of oil, but other than that, this neck is done. Fantastic. So I'm going to end the video here. Once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment and share. And if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And please try and get some of your friends, colleagues, family, etc. to subscribe to my channel. Hope you're all having a good day. Please take care. Peace out.